Listen to me. What if I told you that the next 3 days could completely change the course of your life? Imagine waking up 3 days from now, looking in the mirror and feeling an overwhelming sense of power, confidence, and clarity. What if you could tap into your highest potential with just one simple shift in the way you speak to yourself? Sounds almost too good to be true, right? But I promise you, it's not. This is not some magic trick or overnight success formula. It's a powerful, scientifically backed strategy that can rewire your brain and set you on the path to becoming the best version of yourself. Let me tell you a story to illustrate what I mean. A few years ago, I had a student named Jennifer who came to me with what seemed like an insurmountable problem. She had been struggling with self-doubt, lack of motivation, and an overwhelming sense of inadequacy in her life. No matter how hard she tried, she just couldn't break free from the negative thoughts that seemed to constantly replay in her mind. One day, she came to me in my office and said, "Dr. Whitmore, I feel like I'm just not enough. No matter what I do, I can't seem to move forward." I looked at her and said, "Jennifer, I understand where you're coming from, but let me tell you something. You are not your thoughts. Your thoughts do not define you, but how you choose to talk to yourself, how you choose to respond to those thoughts, that can change everything. The next 3 days will be the most important days of your life if you choose to speak to yourself differently." She was skeptical, of course. Who wouldn't be? But she trusted me and agreed to try. For the next 3 days, I asked Jennifer to take a simple but powerful action. Every time a negative thought entered her mind, to replace it with a positive affirmation, something simple like, "I am capable," "I am worthy," or "I am enough." It wasn't easy, but within just 3 days, Jennifer began to feel different. Her energy shifted, her mindset changed, and slowly but surely, she began to take bold actions that would have once seemed impossible. This is the power of self-talk. And today, I'm going to show you how you can experience the same transformation in just 3 days. All it takes is a commitment to speak to yourself like you've never done before. So, stay with me, because what I'm about to share could be the turning point you've been waiting for. Now that I've got your attention, let's dig into why speaking to yourself in a positive, empowering way is so important. You see, the way we talk to ourselves shapes the very reality we experience. It influences our thoughts, our actions, and ultimately, the direction of our lives. But here's the catch. Most of us aren't even aware of how much control we have over our own inner dialogue. You've probably heard the phrase, "You are your own worst critic." For many of us, this is true. We're quick to criticize ourselves for our mistakes, doubts, and perceived flaws. We replay failures in our minds over and over again, almost as if we're punishing ourselves for being imperfect. And the more we do this, the more we reinforce these negative beliefs, creating a self-fulfilling prophecy where our actions, behaviors, and even opportunities are shaped by the very negativity we feed ourselves. But here's the powerful part. This inner narrative is not set in stone. It's malleable. Our brains are designed to change, to adapt, learn, and grow. This ability of the brain to change throughout our lives is called neuroplasticity. It's the idea that we can rewire our neural connections based on the experiences and thoughts we choose to focus on. And the most fascinating part? The words you speak to yourself are the foundation of that rewiring. You may be wondering, how can something as simple as self-talk have such a profound effect? Well, let me explain with a little science. Our brains are constantly processing information and forming connections. Every time you think a thought or say something to yourself, your brain fires up neurons that form pathways. The more you repeat a thought, the stronger those pathways become, until eventually it becomes your default mode of thinking. Think of it like walking on a path through the woods. If you keep walking the same path, it becomes more and more worn in, easier to walk on and harder to leave. Similarly, if you repeatedly tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," or "I can't do this," your brain will keep reinforcing those beliefs. But here's the good news. The opposite is also true. By intentionally changing the way you speak to yourself, you can carve out a new path in your brain. a path of confidence, self-worth, and belief in your potential. Let me share another example that might help bring this point home. Think about athletes who train for high-level competitions. Many of them use positive self-talk to prepare their minds just as much as they prepare their bodies. Take Michael Phelps, for example. He didn't win all those Olympic gold medals purely based on physical talent. What set him apart was his mental game. He had a mantra he repeated to himself before every race. I am the best. I am the best. I am the best. Sounds simple, right? But that self-talk wasn't just about boosting his confidence in the moment. It was about reinforcing a belief system that guided his actions, decisions, and perseverance. It helped him stay focused, calm, and perform at his peak, no matter the circumstances. This is the power of self-talk. It's not just words, it's not just about boosting your mood in the moment. It's about creating a foundation of belief that drives you to take action, overcome challenges, and unlock your true potential. So, imagine what could happen if you started talking to yourself like Michael Phelps does, with unwavering confidence, positive reinforcement, and unshakable belief in your ability to succeed. Now, let's shift gears and take this deeper. I know it's easy to hear all this and think, sure, that sounds nice, but how do I actually start? And I get it. It's one thing to hear about how powerful self-talk is, but it's another to know how to actually use it to create change in your life. That's where the magic happens. The key is consistency. And it's not just about saying a few nice things to yourself here and there. It's about making this a daily practice. Just like you don't expect to get fit by exercising for a day or two, you can't expect to change your mindset overnight. It takes time, repetition, and commitment. But the results? They're well worth it. So how do you get started? Well, it starts with recognizing your current self-talk patterns. Pay attention to how you speak to yourself throughout the day. Are you encouraging and supportive, or are you critical and judgmental? Most people are shocked when they realize how much negative self-talk they engage in without even thinking about it. It's a learned behavior, and it's deeply ingrained in our culture and upbringing. But once you recognize these patterns, you can begin to change them. It all starts with awareness. Here's a simple exercise you can try today. Write down 3 common negative thoughts you have about yourself. They could be about your career, your relationships, or your abilities. Maybe it's something like, I'm not good enough, I'm not capable of achieving my dreams, or I always mess things up. Whatever they are, write them down. Now, for each of these negative thoughts, write down the opposite, a positive, empowering affirmation. For example, if your negative thought is, I'm not good enough, you might replace it with, I am more than enough, and I have everything it takes to succeed. If your thought is, I always mess things up, replace it with, I learn from every experience, and I grow stronger with each challenge. This may feel awkward at first, and that's okay. It's normal. But the key is consistency. The more you say these positive affirmations, the more your brain will begin to wire itself to believe them, and eventually they will become your new default thoughts. This is the starting point of transforming your self-talk, and in turn, transforming your life. Now that we've established how powerful self-talk can be, let's talk about how to actually make it work for you. It's one thing to understand the theory behind positive self-talk, but it's another to turn that knowledge into real, tangible results. The good news is that all it takes is a commitment to yourself, just 3 days of speaking to yourself in a radically different way. I know it might sound simple, but I assure you, it works. When Jennifer came to me in that moment of doubt, she thought that her problems were too big to fix with something as basic as self-talk. But, I reminded her, it's not about denying the challenges you face. It's about how you choose to respond to those challenges. The way you speak to yourself in moments of doubt, frustration, or fear will determine whether you break down or break through. So let's break this down. Over the next 3 days, you'll engage in a practice that I like to call talking to yourself like you believe in yourself. It's not just about positive thinking, it's about intentionally shifting the entire way you perceive yourself and your capabilities. This practice will help you break through those old, limiting beliefs and make space for new, empowering ones. You're going to literally rewire your brain, and that's something I'm sure you want to experience. Here's how it works. Number 1. Speak your day into existence. Each morning, as soon as you wake up, you need to prime your mind for success. Think about the first thoughts you have when you open your eyes. Are they negative? Are they about what you didn't accomplish the day before, or about the difficulties ahead? Many of us start our day already on the wrong foot with thoughts of stress or worry, but this is exactly where the transformation begins. I want you to try something different. The moment you open your eyes, say to yourself, "Today is going to be a great day. I am ready to handle whatever comes my way." You may feel awkward at first, and that's completely normal. In fact, the more resistance you feel, the more powerful this exercise becomes. This is your brain resisting the change, but the beauty of it is that you're in control, not your old negative thought patterns. Here's something I often tell my students. The way you begin your day sets the tone for everything that follows. If you wake up and immediately tell yourself that you're ready to conquer the world, your brain starts to work in alignment with that belief. You'll find that opportunities, solutions, and answers start to appear where there once were only obstacles. Number 2. Replace negative thoughts with empowering affirmations. Throughout the day, you'll notice old patterns of self-doubt and negativity creeping in. It's inevitable. Your brain is wired for survival, which means it's constantly trying to protect you by reminding you of every potential danger or challenge. But this protective instinct, although helpful in some situations, can often work against you when it comes to personal growth. Here's the trick. When you catch yourself having a negative thought, whether it's about your abilities, your future, or your worth, immediately replace it with an empowering affirmation. Let me give you an example. Let's say you're about to give a presentation at work or school. Your immediate thought might be something like, "I'm going to mess this up. I'm not good enough." In that moment, you must take control. Replace that thought with something like, "I am confident. I am prepared. I am capable of delivering this presentation with ease." Repeat it to yourself as often as necessary. You're not denying the challenge ahead, but you're choosing to speak to yourself as someone who is ready for it. It may take a few attempts, but with each time you replace the negative thought, your brain begins to believe the new empowering message. It becomes a muscle that gets stronger the more you practice. Eventually, your mind will default to these positive thoughts, and you'll approach challenges with a sense of calm and confidence. Number 3. Use your mirror as a tool for empowerment. Here's an exercise that might feel a bit uncomfortable at first, but I promise you it's one of the most powerful tools you can use. Take a few minutes in front of the mirror each day. Look into your own eyes and speak to yourself out loud. Yes, you heard me right. I want you to talk to yourself like you would to a friend who needs encouragement. Say things like, "I am proud of the progress I've made. I am worthy of success. I have the strength to overcome any obstacle." When you say these things out loud, look at your reflection and really feel the words you're saying. Don't just go through the motions. Let it sink in. There's something about speaking to yourself directly in the mirror that allows the words to have more weight. You're not just thinking them in your head, you're physically connecting with the affirmation, which sends a powerful message to your subconscious mind. Over time, you'll start to see a shift in how you view yourself. You'll stop seeing yourself as someone who is defeated by challenges, and you'll start seeing yourself as someone who is capable, resilient, and deserving of all the good things that come your way. Number 4. Evening reflection. Celebrate your wins. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Okay, this is all good, but does it really work? What if I don't see any immediate changes? That's a valid question, and I get it. The thing is, change takes time. But one way to speed up the process is by ending each day with a moment of reflection. As part of this 3-day practice, I want you to take 5 minutes before bed to reflect on the day. Think about the things you accomplished, big or small. Maybe you made progress on a project. Maybe you had a meaningful conversation with a friend. Maybe you managed to overcome a negative thought and replace it with something positive. These wins, no matter how small they seem, are evidence that your self-talk is working. Write them down in a journal or simply say them out loud to yourself. One thing I always tell my students is, it's not the big things that shape your life, it's the small wins that accumulate over time. So even if your day wasn't perfect, acknowledge the victories. By focusing on what you did right, you'll end your day with a sense of accomplishment and positivity, which sets you up for an even better tomorrow. Before we continue to the final part, I just want to take a moment to ask for your support. If you've been enjoying this content and you're ready to make these changes in your life, please take a second to like this video and leave a comment below. Let me know how you plan to implement these strategies into your daily routine. Also, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos that will continue to help you unlock your highest potential. Your support means the world to me, and together we can continue on this journey of personal transformation. The transformation is just beginning. Now that we've explored the practical steps, you may be wondering how long it will take to see results. The truth is, it's different for everyone. For some, the shift happens quickly, and for others, it takes a little longer. But I promise you, if you commit to this practice for just 3 days, you will begin to notice changes. You will start to feel more confident, more empowered, and more in control of your thoughts and emotions. Now that you've spent the last few days speaking to yourself in a radically new way, you might be wondering, what comes next? Will this last? Will the transformation truly stick? Can this really make a permanent difference in my life? The short answer is absolutely. What you've just experienced in these 3 days is the beginning of a fundamental shift in the way you perceive yourself and the world around you. You've intentionally practiced the art of self-talk, and you've begun the process of rewiring your brain. But this is just the start. The true power lies in consistency and in recognizing that this practice can continue to shape your life for months and years to come. 1. The science behind rewiring your brain. Earlier, we touched on the concept of neuroplasticity, the idea that your brain can change and adapt based on your experiences and actions. This is incredibly important because it means that the way you speak to yourself today will shape your brain tomorrow. When you consistently engage in positive self-talk, you begin to create new neural pathways. These pathways, over time, get stronger and more efficient, making it easier to think positively, act confidently, and approach challenges with a solution-oriented mindset. What was once an effortful practice, replacing negative thoughts with positive affirmations, will eventually become your natural way of thinking. Think of it like this. When you start a new workout routine, your muscles are weak at first. But as you continue to exercise, those muscles grow stronger, and what was once difficult becomes second nature. The same thing happens with your brain. With consistent positive self-talk, you are essentially exercising your brain to focus on solutions, growth, and positivity, making these thoughts your new default mode. Now, I know that this process of rewiring can feel slow at times, especially in the beginning. But here's something I want you to understand. You are building something real. This isn't just about surface-level optimism. This is about fundamentally changing the way your mind works, which will impact everything you do. 2. Building confidence through consistent action. The real magic happens when this shift in self-talk begins to influence your behavior. You see, words are not just thoughts in our heads. They shape how we act. When you tell yourself, I am capable, I am worthy of success, I can achieve my goals, you begin to take actions that reflect those beliefs. A few weeks ago, I worked with a young man named David who struggled with starting his own business. He had big ideas, but he couldn't seem to take the first step. Every time he thought about taking action, he was paralyzed by the thought, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? But after just a few days of changing his self-talk, David began to believe in his ability to succeed. He started saying things like, I am an entrepreneur. I am worthy of creating something amazing. And guess what? David's actions followed suit. He started making calls, setting up meetings, and building his business one step at a time. His initial fear was replaced with confidence, and that confidence drove him to take action. It was the consistent, positive self-talk that unlocked the courage he needed to move forward. This is how self-talk creates real transformation. It's not just about thinking positively. It's about using those positive thoughts as fuel to propel you into action. With every positive affirmation, you're telling your brain to show up. And when you show up, the results start to come. 3. The ripple effect. How your self-talk affects your relationships. What many people don't realize is that changing your self-talk doesn't just impact your own life, it affects everyone around you. When you believe in yourself, when you exude confidence and positivity, others can feel it. The energy you carry with you influences your relationships, your career, and the way people interact with you. Think about the last time you were around someone who radiated positivity. How did you feel? Energized, uplifted, inspired. When you choose to speak to yourself with love and encouragement, you create a ripple effect that touches everyone you come into contact with. And not only do you uplift others, but you also begin to attract more of the positive energy and opportunities you seek. If you're someone who struggles with relationships or feels isolated, try this. Pay attention to the way you talk to yourself about others. Are you often thinking things like, "No one cares about me," or "I'll never find a good friend"? When you shift those thoughts to more empowering ones, such as, "I am worthy of love and friendship," or "I attract healthy, supportive relationships," you will start to notice a shift in the way people treat you. Remember, your internal dialogue sets the tone for your external experiences. By practicing positive self-talk, you are not only transforming your relationship with yourself, but also cultivating more meaningful connections with others. 4. Turning this into a lifestyle. How to keep the momentum going. Here's the thing. What you've just experienced is possible because of the time and attention you've given to yourself over these past 3 days. But to truly make lasting change, you need to commit to this as a lifestyle, not just a temporary fix. As a professor with years of experience in personal development, I can tell you that consistency is key. You've already taken the first step, and that's the hardest part. Now, keep going. Each day, set aside time to reinforce the new way you speak to yourself. It could be in the form of a morning affirmation, a moment of reflection before bed, or a series of empowering thoughts throughout the day. The more you do it, the more natural it will become. And here's the beauty of it. The results will compound. In the beginning, you may notice small wins, a little more confidence, a little more clarity. But over time, these wins will build on one another, creating a snowball effect that propels you toward your goals. In fact, I encourage you to write down your goals, big and small, and break them into smaller, actionable steps. Each time you accomplish a step, no matter how small, celebrate it. Reflect on how your positive self-talk has helped you get there. With each small victory, you will see the power of your words in action. 5. Final thoughts. A new chapter awaits. What I want you to understand is that this isn't just about feeling good in the moment. This is about creating a new narrative for yourself. It's about breaking free from the chains of self-doubt and limiting beliefs and stepping into the person you were always meant to be. By speaking to yourself with love, kindness, and belief, you are inviting change into your life. You are unlocking your highest potential, and you are setting yourself up for success, no matter what challenges come your way. You've already started this transformation by dedicating just 3 days to changing your self-talk. Now, think about what your life will look like in 3 months, 6 months, or even a year if you keep this practice going. The possibilities are endless. Remember, as I always tell my students, you are your most powerful ally. The words you speak to yourself are the seeds you plant for the future you want to create. So, choose your words wisely. Speak to yourself like you are the person you want to become, and watch your life begin to transform before your very eyes. Before you go, I want to remind you to take a moment to like this video and share your experience in the comments. How has your self-talk shifted over the past few days? I'd love to hear your thoughts and progress, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the Whitmore Way for more content that will continue to inspire and empower you on your personal growth journey. Remember, this is just the beginning. You have everything you need to create lasting change. Keep believing in yourself, keep speaking with power, and the life you desire will begin to unfold.